working on finishing up the wiring so we can get to the firmware. What we have here is another linear printed part, and you can see the consistency in those linear printers is beautiful. This is going to mount like this, and a couple of the wires are going to be mounted here and come into our chase. So we'll take our switch wire and our motor wire, stick them in through like that. And if you look, there's a little notch out right here, and that is for this motor to come through. And then if you have a Z switch, and then here are your wires, your extended bed heater wires, and let's be smart and put the connector through first. All right. We have this, and then we have our one other wire. And like I said, it's going to come through right about here. So what we want to do, you can reach around behind there and make sure your wire stays in its groove. Okay, so once you get your nuts started and they're still loose, get all your wires positioned, slide this up tight, and tighten your screws. Not exactly what I would call easy, but it is done. Okay, I'm thinking 18 links on this, not so sure. We'll put these on here and see what we got. So there's two zip ties. There's one here that's very difficult to feed, and you'll have to feed it through and leave it looped, and then slide your wire through and then connect it down here. You can see I didn't put it on here. You could also put a zip tie. Well, it might make your link pop off. Hard saying. So put this one on right here. Alright, I killed the old case idea. I didn't totally kill it. Made major changes to it. My original thought was I wanted to make this case as small as possible. Keep its footprint down. However, when I got done, I realized I was about 10 millimeters away from the UPS backup fitting right here. So I went ahead and I widened the case 20 millimeters, and we should be able to get this here, and a MOSFET will fit right here. Now, I'm not going to put the post into the case in case people want to do things different with the space. So what they have is an epoxy in base. I reprinted this stuff on GST 3D filament. You see how shiny it is, and it picks out any flaw. It's not as good anyway, but with the reflection, you really see it. And it does appear that when I'm looking at the bottom, it's not a dialed in profile. Obviously that's a little on the rough side on the bottom. Pretty, but on the rough. But yeah, it just picks up everything. It's even picking up a little bit of ringing that you would never be able to see if it wasn't so shiny. Alright, to epoxy this in, I use 1 minute and 5 minute epoxy. It sets quick, take a couple hours before it's really ready to do anything with. Before it's strong. So to put these in, I'm going to put a generous amount of epoxy here. And that way, if it's not sitting perfectly flat, it'll fill up its voids. We just got us a piece of cardboard that we were throwing away, and we got our piece of E.Sun PLA Plus. Very versatile filament. Spread this out, like I said, this very liberal. Alright, and we can still get to that screw down there if we ever want to take this out, if we got to replace it. Okay, as you can see, the post for this screw sticks out a little bit right here. Because of that, the MOSFET wouldn't go where I initially tried to put it. Okay, what I got here is our second wire chase, printed on a wheeled printer. It's not bad. It's not perfect. Whatever axis this is, we need to look at the wheels on this axis right here. Alright, so basically it'll print like this with no supports. We got a lot of tapers in here, but it's going to allow it to print like this, no supports. 2 M.5 8mm, 2 M.5 T-nuts, and we're going to basically, we're going to run our wire up in here, and that should do it right there, I believe. Okay, here's the other half of the case done in GST 3D. Again, don't like it, just trying to use it up. Never had one of these fins break in PLA Plus. This snapped. I'm going to go ahead and mix up some epoxy and glue this piece back on. But usable, yes. Quality, no. Lots of differences. Taking a look at the case, we got our M.5 8mm screws with T-nuts 1, 2, 3, 4. This one actually goes through the two halves of the case. I'll pull them together. This side we have a little tiny M3 screw hiding right here. M3 8mm. Also, I found me this little short stubby switch, 6 amps, barely in spec. Technically not, but this will never run at its max capacity. This is 6 point something for the power supply. The switch is only rated for 6, but I love it. Short knob, it's less likely to get hit. We'll also have it hiding behind this fan housing here that's going to stick up, so it'll be somewhat protected. I made a mess with my epoxy, so I decided it needed to be over here. We're going to go ahead and make a raised wire tie down, and I'll make a little platform that I can glue on just so it doesn't look as ugly. A lot of times that big screen wire has to go through, and then just go connectors, biggest to smallest. Might be better to have this off right here. While you're doing this, there is some flex in here if you manhandle it. Okay.